So President Trump has proposed term limits on Washington, 6 years on the House and 12 years on the Senate. If that goes into effect, that would wipe out 73% of all politicians in Washington. It's easy to point a finger and blame the president. I'm guilty of it myself by blaming Joe Biden for the debacle and the downfall of the United States of America under his administration for the last 4 years. But the real criminals, the real problem in Washington are the politicians in the House and the Senate that have made Washington a retirement community or a place where they think they can rest easy by doing nothing for the American people for decades on end. And honestly, if we put term limits on these politicians, let's see who actually wants to represent and serve the United States of America and the American people. Because let's be honest, the people we currently have in Washington don't serve the American people. They serve their own special interests. You have individuals that show up to Washington with nothing in their pockets and walk away with millions. Doesn't make sense, does it? Have a great day.
I actually agree with some of the things you said, but I want to take issue with some of the things you said as well. Yes, we have a problem with Congress. A problem with Congress serving themselves before they serve the American people. I agree with that. I disagree with the notion of simply slapping term limits on members of Congress being the solution. You said that if we slap these term limits on members of Congress, then we're going to find out who actually wants to serve. No, you won't. You'll still get people that want to go there and get rich. You'll still get people that want to go there because they want the pension when it's all said and done with. You'll still get people that want to go there because they're corrupt. Instead of term limits, how about we pass a Regulatory and Reform Act? How about we pass something that says, if you're running for the Senate, you can't collect any money from outside of your state, and if you're running for the House of Representatives, you can't collect any money outside of your district. Additionally, you can only collect personal donations. What that cap should be, I don't know. That's up to somebody above my pay grade. But no more PAC money, no more billionaire money, no more corporation money, and no more organization money. So no more teachers union money, and no more Koch brothers money. How about we regulate Congress that says that if you're going to vote on anything that personally affects you, like a pay raise for Congress, you don't get to vote on it. That goes to a national referendum. We're going to decide whether or not you get a raise. We're going to decide how your health insurance is going to be structured. I'd like for this Regulatory and Reform Act to say that they have to work 5 days a week. I'm sorry that you live in Washington State and your job is in Washington, D.C. It sucks. But if you truly want to serve the American people, then you'll figure out a way to be there 5 days a week. The government shuts down, you're the first motherfuckers that don't get a paycheck. Things like this will help us in narrowing down the pool of people to elect. And we'll find the people who truly want to serve because they can't get rich. No insider trading. You're not allowed to own a single fucking stock if you're a member of Congress. Period. End of story. You know, we rein in Congress rather than limit Congress. I don't ever want to go to my plumber and go, hey, you've been my plumber for 20 years. I got to find a new plumber. I don't want a career plumber. I want a career plumber. I want a career mechanic. And I want somebody who knows what they're doing and is good at what they're doing when it comes to governing my country. I just think that we need to regulate them so that we can rein them in, not limit them on what they can do. Furthermore, I find it incredibly ironic that you're talking about Donald Trump wanting to set term limits when he himself is trying to violate the term limits of his own position. He's trying to run for an unconstitutional third term. And you're talking about how people get rich in Congress. Yes, that's a big fucking problem. Nancy Pelosi is the queen of this fucking problem. But Donald Trump has made hundreds of millions of dollars off of our tax dollars for all of his trips to his resorts and overcharging for rooms for Secret Service. How are you going to bitch and moan about the members of Congress getting rich off their position and not Trump? How are you going to bitch and moan about the members of Congress needing to abide by certain term limits that might be imposed in the future, and support a guy who's trying to unconstitutionally run for a third term. Make that shit make sense, man.